make sure that we get the mic on YouTube there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to cover some of the updates, like I said, that have been happening the week before last and now this week with all the maintenance that we've been doing. Alright, so thanks for joining us. Let's get started. So the first thing is, let's talk about what has been going on in the past week or so, the maintenance. So the maintenance, we had 2 maintenance periods, Wednesday and Thursday this week. They went well, and it's resulted in a couple different improvements that I just sort of want to go over. So Tradelab itself, it should be operational. We shouldn't have any differences. You guys shouldn't notice any difference. But we have been changing up some back-end infrastructure to make things not only more performant, but also more cost-effective. And because it's more cost-effective, we can put more performance into it. We instead of saving money in some places, we can pay the same amount and get double the processing, right, sort of thing. So that gets us to be more performant in some places, lowers costs in other places, which gives us a little bit of breathing room as we start to grow. Should give us the ability to hopefully start looking to get help eventually, and get things like support agents and that sort of stuff to sort of help out and give me more focus on development of the platform, right? So this week has been a lot of tuning up in many different areas, right? Just all across the board. Not, I wouldn't say so much in the code wise, but I mean in the back end wise, but also infrastructure of the company, how we are structured and handle ourselves, and just trying to move forward into that next step. I've been developing and been focusing on development for quite a while now, and now trying to sort of pivot and focus a little bit more on the business side as well to cultivate that. So I feel like what we have is in a pretty good spot, and just trying to get that shown out to more people. We have a couple partnerships in the pipeline, so I can now announce that we have been working with 2 different exchanges, and those exchanges we're going through the process of signing papers and getting those deals worked out. I can talk about one of those exchanges because we're a little bit further along with them, and that would be Crypto.com. So Crypto.com is moving forward, and we have had contact with them, and so we are waiting for a couple things from them to really get things integrated and started, and so we're working with them to get that going. But that is the first exchange that I'm happy to announce that we have partnered with. Now, their partnership is a little bit to be determined. We'll announce more about it, but it's mainly like a marketing partnership, and it's mainly a partnership around getting them. Right now they're not integrated, so we're going to get them integrated. We're going to have them be sort of the US go-to, for US customers who want to trade legally and all of that sort of stuff. Of course, US customers won't be able to do futures because that's US regulations, but Crypto.com for other regions does provide futures and spot margin and all sorts of stuff like that, right? So we're going to be doing a full integration with Crypto.com, and we're going to be promoting them, and they're going to be promoting us. So anybody who has heard of Crypto.com knows that they're a marketing giant, right? That's all they do. They spend a lot of money, and so a tweet from them goes a long way, but they're talking about doing even more than that. right? You know, those sorts of things. So we'll see how that goes. And like I said, we do have another one in the pipeline. I'll save that one for next time, hopefully. Um, that one's actually going really well, but I want to make sure that we cross all of our T's before I announce anything. So there's that. And yeah, so those are sort of the changes that we've been making. The maintenance was a pretty big deal. So let's talk about real quick what we actually did with the maintenance, because some people want to know what does all that mean. So we used to have our logging system through a different service, and that service was an external service, and we log quite a bit. And so we moved our logging service to an internal logging service, which costs us less because of the traffic, because of the processing, because of all that stuff. So that allowed us to beef up certain other things in other areas, but also, save money and then, use that money in different areas of the business, right? So that's one of the main things that we did. Another huge thing is the database. So the database was also sort of a cost-saving measure, but also a performance measure, because we needed to upgrade our database, but we were already paying too much for database. We had it on a different service, and now it was a managed service. We're using the same database, same data, same everything. Nothing has changed, but what has happened is we've moved that internally now. And it is still hosted exactly the same way in the same, you know, same place, same AWS, same security, that sort of stuff. It's just that we aren't paying a third party to manage it for us, basically. And so we had to go through setting up backups. That was done for us previously. We went through and set that up. We went through the migration and moved a ton of data from one place to another. And we're still going through the cleanup process. There's still a data cleanup process that's going through. There's still processes on the testnet that I was working on last night to get the testnet back up and running the way it was. So there's a few things that are happening, but we did have a 4-hour window on both Wednesday and Thursday when we performed the main part of the maintenance. It actually took a little bit longer Thursday night than we expected, and so I announced that on our Discord, and we got that sort of sorted within the next few hours. And so at this point, we're just in the cleanup phase, and I don't expect any other downtime. I think we minimized our total downtime to I think maybe it was 20 minutes, right? I made an announcement all throughout the week telling people that for those 2 days, for those 4 hours, the total of 8 hours, that they might want to shut down their bot, or and that sort of stuff. I'm going to continue to do those things as we do maintenance and as we do larger updates. We do have another update that's coming. I don't expect downtime, but I am going to warn people that as this update pushes, that you may want to pause your bots and try it manually just to make sure everything's working like it was. Those sorts of things. So I'm going to be updating people as we get closer to that, and that's when we're releasing the copy trading as well, right? So that's what I'm talking about. The next major release will happen in another week or two, and that will have copy trading in it. So it's just about ready. This sort of this big maintenance week sort of postponed work on that. I was planning on having that done and released this past week, basically, but we wanted to do this first, get everything out of the way, and now that we're stable and we're on new infrastructure and everything's good, now we can introduce new stuff, right? So that made the most sense, and that's what we're going to do. This new stuff not only comes with copy trading, it comes with new CCXT. I know people have mentioned Phemex has switched over to USDT, and we're not showing the symbols. That's because I guess there was an update with CCXT and how they parse the symbols from Phemex. We take the symbols live, so normally if anybody adds an extra symbol or anything, I don't need to update anything. It just works. But I guess because this is a different type of symbol, it's USDT versus the USD that they had, that CCXT needed to change the way that they parsed it. And so I have that running on the testnet now. So if you go to testnet.tradelab.com, you can find that under Phemex. So we can go under here, and we can make sure. Do I have everything loaded up? One second. Okay. I'll have to take a look and see what's going on there. I'll have to log in later. So, on the testnet, we are doing a lot of changes and preparing for those things. So as we clean up this scheduled maintenance and we prepare for the new big update, I do encourage everybody to go on testnet and to try out your strategies and figure that out. I will also say that there's going to be issues and things that you might see on the testnet. That's why we're doing it over there and why we're not doing it live, right? So bear with me as we get through that on the testnet. And now let's go through some of the updates that have gone on besides all of the scheduled maintenance. So some of the updates that we did were for some of the integrations that we're preparing for, right? So I actually did an update for new pricing. So we're using a new pricing system, which should give us more up-to-date pricing, just faster. I don't know that we're really gonna notice a ton of difference, to be perfectly honest, but I know the way that I'm pulling the data is faster and more accurate. It does update faster, and I'm not having to cache it as long or anything like that. So we should have more accurate, more timely prices. Now, whenever we placed an order before and stuff like that, I always got the freshest price right then anyway, right? So it's not about order placement. This would be like if you're comparing price using a rule, right? But the rules only run every 15 seconds anyway, right? But at the time that it runs, we'll make sure to have the latest price, right? So that's why I'm saying it's kind of a toss-up, but we had to do this to support some other exchanges that we're going to work with, so that's why. Another thing is I had some fixes to the P&L and the ROI specifically, and I also have been doing some work with the P&L generator. So that's still on the testnet, but I do have some new UI going on with the P&L generator. I think the testnet is in either a build or I need to fix it right now, so I can't show you what's on the testnet, but it's working on that. If anybody has messed with that yet, you can find that in trades under trade history, and you can click on any trade and generate a P&L image, right? You can say a Ferrari race car, right? So how did this trade make you feel? You type in something, and it'll actually generate you an image based on that, yeah, and so this is actually half of the new sort of the new UI that I have here. So I made a new UI. It's now in a pop-up instead of just baked into here. There's more stuff that I got on the testnet, but I did push this live. So if you want to go check out the P&L generating system, it'll generate you a P&L. You can save this. You can change the background if you want. And that's what that looks like. Some of the new stuff that I'm adding, we're having all new templates here. This is sort of not that great looking. I do like the AI image, generated image, but there's different ways to sort of do this and frame it and not make it so blah. And so that's what I'm working on, and we'll have some new templates out for you guys to choose. We're gonna have multiple templates that you can sort of go through, and some that will include no AI generated image. Right? I want to make a couple that are just like what Bybit has, and generic stuff. But yeah, so that's what we're doing there. And I do have several different things that I'm working on in the background. I am working on MetaTrader. I have a MetaTrader plugin going. I have it sending trades. I am working on doing a tighter integration with that, so that it feels like it's just another exchange and you're sending trades out to MetaTrader. As I get that going, anybody who's interested in testing with MetaTrader, this won't cost anything extra, at least not right now. I don't really know if I'm going to monetize it in any particular way. The main reason I'm doing this is because I didn't want to have people pay for Pine Connector, and that was an extra subscription. So my intention was not to, and I don't think I am, but yeah, we'll see how it goes, and what sort of support is needed, right? And how much focus and development I really need to put into this plugin after it's done. If I just put it up there and you download it and you use it, and I don't have to mess with it, then yeah, it should be fine. I don't think we're having to run any extra servers for it or anything like that. Now, as we get closer, I'll discuss more and more about the MetaTrader, but just so everybody doesn't get too excited, the way that this works is you have to run this plugin next to MetaTrader, which means that MetaTrader has to be running all the time. Which means you either do it on your computer, or MetaTrader has like $10 or $15 VPSs that you can buy, and you can run it in a VPS, and it can run in the cloud all the time. But you're gonna have to pay for that part, right? So still fairly inexpensive, and I mean you're trading. You should be making money, and hopefully it pays for itself, right? You can trade on Forex and stocks and commodities and just about anything you can think of, as long as you can find a broker to do it through MetaTrader, and there's a lot, right? So so we're getting there. Once again, we can do this today if you're like really itching to do it and you want to use Pine Connector. I think they're a $20 subscription. I think they offer a free trial or something. Maybe. I don't know if they do actually. But if you get that, reach out to me and we can set it up through the plugin system, right? And get Pine Connector working. So that's what we're doing there. I do have some other things going on in the background. I have gotten back on the... I have gotten back to working on the module system. Very important, right? The module system is going to make things easier for us. I'll talk more about it next time. But the module system, along with... So what I've done in the past several weeks is I've sat down and made, sort of revised my roadmap, made a plan, and sort of grabbed different parts of functionality and group them together, right? And so one of the main things that I wanted to group together was the modules, the events system, and the live data system, right? So I'm actually working on TAlib to bring in live data, and then I'm working on an event system to sort of link into that, as well as provide a calendar page. So you're gonna be able to run rules off of events. Okay, so right now we have a utility rule. So if we go into the builder and we take a look at our different types of rules. We have orange rules and we have blue rules, right? And we also have a purple rule. Okay, so the blue rules run when we're not in a trade. Excuse me. The blue rules run when we're not in a trade. The orange rules run when we are in a trade, and the purple rules never run, except if we tell them to run specifically. And we could do that by running a rule timer, right? So we could, in any one of these rules, I could add an action that says rule timer, and then I can look at whatever name this is. This is data copy, so I could do this, and I could say black flag data copy. And now it's going to call this after 10 seconds. So it's going to wait 10 seconds and it's going to call black flag data copy, right? So doing that will basically allow us to this event system that I'm talking about, hooking it up to this utility rule, is going to allow us to run utility rules not just on rule timers, but on events themselves. And events could be like trade open, trade close. This line got hit. That line got hit. This line was placed. This line was canceled. There's a couple more. I got them written down somewhere, but there's several different events that I want to allow you to attach to, and then I also want you to create your own events and fire different events, which could, those events could be listened on other different strategies. So we have global variables, and this allows you to talk between different strategies by using variables. So these variables are shared between all strategies, and you can sort of send messages between the strategies by changing those variables. And since they all share the same data, then all the strategies see the difference, right? Well, that's one way, and what I'm suggesting with this new event system is basically the idea of a different way to sort of send an action to another strategy, right? And say, hey, I'm going to fire this event, and another strategy could listen to that event, right? I also want to create a calendar page, and that calendar page is going to allow us to put different events on a calendar. So you might schedule at the end of every Friday to send an event, and that event could put all of your stuff to sleep if you want to turn it off for the weekends, right? Or maybe there's a FTC report going out, and you mark it on your calendar, and based on that event, you can make your strategies behave a certain way, right? You can have them listen to that event and go into a certain mode, or be more aggressive or be less aggressive, turn themselves on or off, all sorts of stuff like that. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. I honestly don't have a ton of stuff to show this week because we've been doing all that maintenance, but it's all been going very well, and excited about moving forward. I'm mostly excited and talking about all this new stuff because now it's in front of me and on my plate. With the copy trading and this maintenance stuff, I've known that it's coming up, and I've been blocked by it. I basically gotten to the point where I haven't been able to get the stuff in the momentum that I want done with all of these things, because I know that I got to prepare for these things, these major updates. And so now that this is coming to an end, I'm sort of green field again, and I'm able to sort of knock stuff out quicker, right? So excited about getting back to work on that, and seeing some more changes here fairly soon. So yeah, I think that's going to be my spiel. It was a full 30 minutes of talking. I hope I didn't lull anybody to sleep. I do think I have a couple messages in here, so let me check my messages. More than 500. Oh, yes. You're talking for the... Yes, I'll get that done tonight. We're talking about how many strategies you can see. So we do have unlimited strategies, but people have found that they can only have about 450, in reality, before you can't see anymore. And this is because of some changes that were being made. Actually, not even. This was some changes that were made a long time ago with the database. And I never really set it up so that it had pagination and other stuff like it should after we swapped the databases. And so now it was actually brought up last week, and I knew that we were going to be changing the database over this week, and so I put it off. But now that we're just about done with that, I can go ahead and go in there and figure out a new sort of system for that. I could just increase it to 500, 600, but I don't need to actually solve it, right? It's not gonna solve it. So I'm gonna introduce paging and perhaps infinite scroll. We'll see. I get that going again. CCXT update. Can we expect issues like last time? Well, hopefully not. This is not as big of a update. I would suggest everybody who is currently using Tradelab and wants to make sure that their strategies are going to work. I would suggest you go to the testnet and you try it out over there. We have had more people in the testnet and more testing going on, and I do think that it's not nearly as bad as it was, in December when we did our major CCXT upgrade. This is not a major upgrade. This is a minor upgrade, so I think it should be okay. Copy trading in 2 weeks. Is there an exchange it should work best on? Well, so copy trading on our end is just copy trading. So like it should apply to any exchange. And it's it's just done all through Tradelab, right? So should work on any exchange, to my knowledge. So far, we've been testing it with Bitget and Bybit the most, I think. I think Mr. Nobody has a Binance test out there as well. I think him and a couple people are testing Binance, I think. So there's that. BingX. Yeah, so BingX, I mean, let's talk about it. I want to support BingX, and I'm working myself at this point to support it. Typically, I don't. I try not to work on crypto exchanges from scratch. That means that I have to. I only support things that are supported by CCXT. And BingX has not been supported by CCXT, and so that means that the amount of work that it takes to get it integrated to Tradelab is like 4 or 5 times more, right? And it's quite a lot of effort, and with all the other stuff that I have to work on, I haven't done that, and I put it off. And actually, I felt okay with that with BingX because I knew a lot of people wanted it, but CCXT is open source, and I looked it up, and somebody else was working on had publicly posted that they were working on BingX integration and that it would be ready soon, and that was last year, mid to late last year, and now I've heard that there were issues trying to get it to work, and that that hopefully it would come soon and somebody would figure it out. And so far I haven't quite seen the fork either, but maybe I didn't look hard enough. But what sort of puts a damper on all of this is I talked to somebody, I won't name names, but a member here who's also a member elsewhere, networking, told me about another botting system, which I don't actually know too much about them. I don't think they're anything like us. I think it's some bot that somebody made. I don't know too much about it, to be perfectly honest. But I did hear that they they use CCXT, and all of a sudden they have Bing X support. And it turns out that's the guys who were doing the Bing X support, and from what I hear, it's working over there, and people are using Bing X. But for whatever reason, that hasn't been released open source. So we're playing that game, with the open source library where somebody said they were going to, and I guess they're not. And so now I guess I have to do it, and try to do it myself. I've been trying to do it with GPT to try to speed it up, but there's a lot of code to write. And so, just, yeah. So working on that. That's the whole story with Bing X. It's a bummer. You know, if it turns out that it can get released, or if somebody needs help and they would like to reach out to me, I would be more than happy to sit down with whoever and let's get that out for everybody so that Bing X can be accessed through CCXT. That would be wonderful, right? So more than happy to collaborate, more than happy to do whatever is needed. If not, I'll do my best to do it myself. All right, so there's that. Does a TV chart have to be open or have a specific coin for an alert on that chart? No. Let's talk about that. Just some TradingView tips here. TradingView tips. Alright, so if we go to the chart, okay, and I don't even know where my price is. Oh, there it is, okay. So if I'm just looking at a price here and I have a symbol and I'm going to set up my alerts, okay. The thing about TradingView and how it works is it bakes in all the settings to an alert. Okay, this is pretty basic TradingView alert information, like fundamentals, but everybody should know this, right? And some people don't realize this, even after having used alerts for a really long time. So check this out, listen up. So alerts have all their stuff baked in when they're created. Okay, so if I create an alert, whatever symbol I'm on, whatever time frame I'm on, whatever candle setting I have, if I select a strategy or an indicator, whatever settings are in that indicator or strategy, all of these settings, everything is all baked into the alert. And what I mean by baked in is after we set up this alert and give it this message and say you're going to send once per bar, when I hit create, everything is then locked into that alert. That alert remembers all of those settings. Okay, and so if I then hit create and then I change something in the settings of my VWAP, I change the length of my VWAP, right? Or I change my symbol, right? Or I change my time frame. The alert that I just made is still on USD yen. It's still on the 5 minute. Even if I go to 21 minute, that alert is still firing on the 5 minute, right? And we can see this because look at each of these. It shows the symbol for the alert and the time frame. And so you can see obviously on this chart, I don't have a layout saved for BTC 7 minutes. I don't have anything for BTC 7 minutes. I had that a while ago and I created an alert and I saved it, and now this remembers it forever. And now I can go about my business doing other stuff, right? With other symbols and stuff. Okay, so that's pretty fundamental. I hope everybody understands that. And let's talk about what if I do want to change. So what if I have a indicator and I do want to change a setting on the indicator? That means you have to go and delete the alert, or you have to update the alert. Now it's not super straightforward how to do this. Usually for most people, I recommend going into your settings, changing whatever you need to, then finding any alert that is related to what you just changed and deleting the alert and then remaking the alert. That's the best way, the easiest way. However, there is a technically easier way. You just have to know how to do it correctly. And that is, if you edit this and you just hit save, it will still have everything baked in. Even if I changed, it'll still have the old stuff baked in. Okay? So if I want to use the new stuff that I just changed, I have to change this, and sometimes, depending on what you're doing, it might show, like if I changed RSI, it might show a second RSI down here. And if it does, you can just click the second RSI and that's the new settings. But sometimes it doesn't do that, and so you got to click on a different one, like this, and you would have to save it with the different condition. Okay, fully save it, and then come back in here and reset it back to the one that you intend. By doing that, by setting it back to the other one, it'll take the new one and it'll bake in the new setting that you just changed. Okay, but keep in mind that if you set this up on BTC USD, okay, and you are editing a symbol for BTC USD, and later on you change to ETH, okay, if you then change the length of your VWAP, okay, and you want to apply that to the BTC, if you edit this and resave it and you still have ETH up here, it'll change the BTC to an ETH. You see, so that's why I sort of recommend that you just go through the whole process of deleting it, and then you know that you have to select the right symbol. You know you have to go through everything to make sure that that alert is created correctly. So yeah, so if you use any indicators and you change settings often, that's really something you got to keep tabs on. Just coming in here and changing something in the settings is not going to take effect on your alert, right? So that's something to keep in mind.
So an update to that. So if I have go back to your alerts
Sure.
column before, so I could look at one. Okay, so you have 7-minute BTC RSI data. If you create a new alert and you put 7-minute BTC RSI data TWO, that would create a second alert with the new data. Is that correct? And the old one would still have the other data.
That is correct.
So okay, so you could have a group of them in similar but different time frames and things.
100%.
So I noticed in one strategy where they're using a double squeeze on different time frames.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have the 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 two squeezes or a group of them all together, and then when you're building your strategy, you could pull in each of the different squeeze alerts based on the two graphs on the chart. So okay, you answered the question. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, that is exactly right. Awesome, awesome. Don't care too much about Bing X. Only plans if it's not on the roadmap. Takes time. Skip it. Yeah. Well, it is something that people are interested in. I think honestly one of the main things. You said the big plus was the extensive testing system. That's interesting. And I think I haven't heard that actually. What I've heard is that people want to test, or people want to use it for other markets, because BingX is sort of like FTX was, in the sense that they have, I think, synthetic trading or some sort of trading where you can trade on like Forex and stuff, but using crypto. Because we're going in the MetaTrader direction, right? And I'm also working on interactive brokers, so that's something that I haven't talked about. So we have set our sights on interactive brokers. I've had a bunch of people ask for that, and Miles has done research and agreed that we should go in that direction, and so we're starting up that process. We've approached this in a couple different ways before. Um, with Alpaca and some other ones, and found out that we were not in the right legal area that we wanted to be. Approaching this, we're trying to make sure that we don't waste our time and that we have everything that we need and everything that we don't want, or don't have everything that we don't want, and make sure that we're in the right legal space, right? So Trying to get an answer on those things up front, and once we have those, hopefully we'll be moving forward with interactive brokers in a more native way, right? If you have interactive brokers today and you want to use it with MetaTrader, you can do that, right? This is just talking about a native uh, integration. But so going back to BingX, it could be less important because people want to trade on other stuff, but actually they can now and do it more directly. And the other thing too is about the testing is I am looking at doing a paper trading system. I know that's something that a lot of people want, um, and I'm just about ready to do it. I mean, the main reason I didn't do it was because we were having so many issues with P&L and all the other issues with that, um, and even now, some of the ways that I fixed the P&L was to rely directly on the exchange stuff, because when I calculated it, it wasn't always correct, just depending on some of the, the stuff that I would get from the exchange. It didn't add up. So it's just one of those things that, I'm looking at different avenues on how to do paper trading, right? And I think I'm getting to the point where I'm seeing that avenue sort of brighten up, right? I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, how we can do that, and hopefully here soon I'll be able to integrate a system to do that. And what I'm talking about there, it also comes in contact with the live data stuff that I'm doing, right? Because basically I need um, a more up to date pricing system, which I basically already just installed over the past couple of weeks for the other thing, and that was a prerequisite for the live data stuff. So now that we have sort of a different way for that for the prices to come in, we're now in a position where I can sort of work on that, the ability to uh, lost my train of thought, but the ability to get the prices and make sure that that we get everything updated. So yeah, that's something that is coming hopefully fairly soon. Paper trading. That's what I meant, is that we're using paper trading in the sense that we're using your live exchange. We're getting the prices from the live exchange, but we're just not going to send any of the changes, right? But to do that, we have to be able to know if your take profit got hit, right? Well, we have to be monitoring the take profit in a much better way than we can do now. Like we a lot of our take profits are either triggered by TradingView. It's like, okay, fine, or they're triggered by the exchange. We can monitor a price moving over a price, but like I said, we only do that every 15 seconds with our rules. So to have a system in the background that's doing those things is what I was getting to. So that's what I'm working on, or will be working on with paper trading and getting that set up. So hopefully that'll allow for more testing, and of course we got the back testing coming, and the live data, the TA lib that I'm working on, is going to help as a precursor to that. So, yep. Okay. Well, I think that's the end of the spiel there. Does anybody have any additional questions? Awesome. Good deal. Well, yeah, so just to wrap up, for those who
Okay,
joined in,
I
go
did
ahead.
have a question
Go for it.
on the strategies when you put in USD versus percentage. The trade preview comes up with the dollars, and is that an accurate way to review your trade as far as whether you think it might be worth trying?
No, it's not. It's a it's a way to visualize one part of your risk management, which is your risk to reward ratio.
Okay.
Okay, so and I'm actually planning on probably putting the actual ratio up on there so you can see the ratio because people know what that is and that's how they operate sometimes. But right now, what's actually being shown is a ratio of profit to loss in uh, by taking all of your take lines and your stop lines and doing an estimate off of an estimated price. So we take the current price, we do a bunch of math, and we get the dollar price for how much you would win and how much you would lose if you hit all of your lines. If you hit all of your lines, right? So if you hit your all of your take profits and they added up all together, one was only 33%, another one was 50%. We do all of that math, we add it together, and we would estimate that if you put in $20 or 1% or whatever you put in, that you would end up making this much if all of your lines was hit. Right now, it should be around there, but it may not be exactly that. We all know that because of like limit prices, market prices, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But that's the idea. Um, does that describe if a trade is profitable? No, not necessarily. Like the trade itself, it depends on if you got a good entry. It depends on exactly what you're trying to do. Does it describe if your TPSL setup has a good risk to reward ratio and a good setup? Yes, it can help with that, right? It can help you see if you've set up your TPSL in a fairly profitable way, right?
Okay, then I'll just use it to group like um, take profit and stop loss groups, with similar ratios, and then sort the more profitable ones a different way. Then,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that can inform you. You can look at the different strategies that you've had, and you can have different ratios on them, and then you can say, oh, hey, these strategies are doing better. I wonder why, and then you go look and you can see that ratio, and that's a different ratio than the other ones, and it's like, oh, okay, well, this ratio is doing better, right? And this is how I should set up my take profits and stop losses, right?
yeah, I did a big grouping, probably five different categories in levels, and picked the top six with the ratios, and saw how those ran.
Okay, great. All right. And
And
then,
the other part is,
sure.
before you run the strategy the very first time, it has a very astronomical number for your profit until it seems to run, and then it gets back to real life. Is that just normal?
No, I'm not sure. It might. So it goes off of so if you have a strategy that fills out all of the information for you from like an alert, and it sets up your TPSL or it sets up your amount or something like that, that would make sense because when you first copy it, you probably have like all zeros, right?
Yeah,
Or something
I
crazy.
agree.
Then once
Okay.
it comes in, then yeah, and also if you copy it from a different symbol, that can also affect it because you don't have the you don't have all of the prices and everything set up for that new symbol, right? Um, so that could affect it. But yeah, once you do one trade, that makes sense. Yeah.
Then it settles down to real life. Okay, great.
Um, all right. And then JP, did you have a question?
Well, I wanted to talk about my data cruncher. This is I actually came up with a new name. That screener I was referring to it as before.
Mm-hmm.
It's technically not a screener because a screener sort of, uh, you know, uh, runs a query, let's call it, against 5,000 different assets, and then comes back with a result set of 20 assets that meet that criteria. So my uh, tool doesn't necessarily do that, so I've gave it a new name. It's a data cruncher window, and I've created some new ones. I created another one, and I just wanted to let this team know that if there are any multi-indicator sort of situations where you want to create one of these data crunchers, I can help you, and I'll actually fund it myself through Flash Trade, my entity, in hopes of that we can create some profitable strategies at Tradelab, and offer those up for copy trading and somehow monetize them. So I want to share my screen real quick here and show you guys something pretty cool. Can you see? All right, you'll see it in a second here. All right, so there is my TradingView, right? So the latest, greatest, now actually on the left side here is my original screener. We're calling it a data cruncher. You plug in 20 assets. This one has lagging and leading indicators that are flashing red, and they have values, and it also has the price and the EMA1 and the EMA2. And I'm building strategies in Tradelab to leverage this data. Basically, you'll be able to trade 20 coins simultaneously off of what is in this particular indicator. There is 7 lagging conditions, 3 leading conditions, different moving averages, Ichimoku settings, MACDs, all that stuff. I've jammed a ton of information in here, and it's just crunching data. That's why it's a data cruncher, right? I created a new one for an indicator that was open source called the money line, and you can see the money line right here. Okay, it's sort of riding tandem next to the candles. The money line is really, really cool. I've been using this for a while, and what it is like this right here at the bottom is a reverse up, and you can see there's only one asset right now, Rune, flash to reverse up. I'm going back in time here right now. We're looking at Ave, which is the first symbol in the cruncher here, and it's below the cloud. So this line is below the cloud, which means it's in a short. So if you go back in time, there was a reverse up for the money line, and if you look at what was happening with the candles, my God, that was the time to get in along, right? And then that thing rode up all the way to the top, and then it did a reverse down here, which means it's time to get out. So I guess the moral of the story is I'm building these tools that can crunch data for 20 assets. I'm looking for killer indicators that are open source. There can be multiple indicators that you want to combine all in one cruncher. So when we click on it, we can have multiple indicators in there, and you can modify all the settings, and we can create these things. Basically, they'll be property of Flash Trade, let's call it, right? But for bringing me the idea and helping me build profitable strategies in Tradelab, of course, you'll get to use the indicator for free for life, let's call it. And we'll, if you can create profitable strategies that we can offer up on a copy trade basis, there's money in it for everybody. So I'm just putting that out there. Bring me ideas for these crunchers, because I'll just keep building them. I'm not building them myself. I'm paying guys $100 an hour to do it. I mean, this isn't cheap, but I believe in Tradelab. I believe in the development my guys are doing, and I believe in all you guys, because you're working your asses off building strategies. Let's build them for 20 coins at a time. You know what I mean? This is the future. We want to be able to manage all sorts of trades simultaneously using the power of Tradelab. That's what I got.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. So, thank you for that, JP. I always welcome anybody who's working on anything like that to let me know, and I can give you some time, some spot here to sort of show off your progress and show off what you got. And I know JP has been working on this for a while, and we've talked about it multiple times, and it's getting closer and closer and more useful to the initial grand vision, and even going past the grand vision now with some of the stuff that he's doing. So super exciting.
Right on, man.
Exciting.
Love working with you, Jake, and I appreciate all the help, and look forward to making some money, man.
Yes. Oh, sorry, I just knocked my. All right, can you guys hear me still?
Jake,
Yes.
I have a question regarding the forex stuff and the option stuff and whatever. That works with contracts and ticks and stuff like that. For crypto, we've got it easy. You're going to say like I want to put in like $100 or $1,000 or whatever. If you're going to do forex, you have to do like contracts, big contracts, small contracts. I don't know how it works. Are you going to build that into the trades like you're now doing into the in Tradelab itself? Like when you say okay, put in a trade for like €100, $100. Are you going to convert those €100, $100 to the contract amount of forex, or what's your idea on that?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm doing. And in fact, you say, oh, we have it easy on crypto, but it really depends on what type of crypto you're talking about. If you're trading contracts on crypto, like Doge, for example, there's 1,000 Doge in every contract or something like that, right? For certain exchanges, so they already do that, and I actually already support that whole system. And so plugging that into Forex, I just have to tell it what the lot sizes are, right?
Okay, cool,
And so yeah,
cool.
and so you just go from there, and yeah, we'll still be doing all the math for you, right? So you can put in your pips, you can put in your USD, you can put in now what I am looking to do. I'm looking to do so this next update is the copy trading update. It's got a lot of more stuff in the background. The next update that comes after that, the next major update, is going to have a lot of foreground stuff. It's going to be changing a lot of labels and the way that we do things. And I'm not trying to confuse or change anything drastically on anybody, but there will be changes such as right now we do a lot of like USD amount, and really like we have USD amount and we'll probably keep USD amount to a certain extent, but we really need to be talking about base and quote prices, right? And so I'm trying to figure out the best way. I mean, base and quote are really the standard names, and so I kind of want to use the standard names, but at the same time, I don't want to get too technical on people. So I'm trying to, there's multiple situations where this lingo, right, whether it be this situation or pricing or something else, where I'm trying to figure out the best way to label these things. I feel like right now there's been a couple situations where I've gone more technical in some places, and then I've tried to make it less technical in other places, and I feel like there's a clash between that, right? In how my UI is labeled and how people are interfacing with it. So I want to remedy that here soon, and so and a lot of that is coming with all the work that I'm doing with Forex and MetaTrader and stocks and all of that, because I am having to think of those things, and as I'm thinking, I'm sort of redoing how those things are labeled so that we can interface with those things better. Because some of the labels that we have really do just apply to crypto, and we need to be more abstract, right? So that's where we're at there.
Yeah, great, great. Thanks for the answer. Cool.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, that's something we should put into the feature request, Basti. Doing global variables by CSV. That's something we could probably do. Um, could probably do in a couple different ways, actually. I do want to. I want to redo all of the tables on the site. We were just talking about how you can only see 400 or 500 strategies. Well, that comes with pagination on the tables. Well, not only do I want pagination, but I want search, where like right now, if you search, it just searches the 400 that it grabbed. So it needs to search. If we're only grabbing 20 on a page or something, then it needs to search everything and bring back what you want, right? But I don't want to just search on one field. I want to be able to search on multiple fields, right? So there's that, and then I want to be able to sort, right, on those things, and that changes the way that it comes back from the database. And then there was something else I was just talking about, but with the lists and and I want to be able to export. Right, I want to be able to export to a CSV, whatever it is that you're looking at, those sorts of things. So these are all things that I've done before. In fact, I tried to do it with Tradelab when we first started, but we were on Firebase at the time. And when we finally switched to Mongo, which gives me the ability to do all those things, I just never got the time to go back. Honestly, that's the stuff that you usually do way early in the project when nobody's looking, because it is a little tedious to get it all right, and it takes a little bit of time. But once it's all correct, once it's used everywhere in the system, and it's really important. Tables are really important for the website. So I just haven't gone back and done it. It takes a little bit of focus, but I'm gonna get that done, and we'll go from there. Yes. All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and start winding this down here. I do got a couple things that I got to take care of today. Were there any other questions that we wanted to go over? I'm also going to check YouTube as well. Make sure nobody has questions over there. Hey, Will. Hey, RP. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. I'm gonna shut off the stream, and thanks everybody for watching. If you do have any other questions, you can always join us on Discord. Yeah, like and subscribe. We did pass 2K followers on YouTube, so yay! Thank you, everybody. 2K, and we have been monetized on YouTube for a little bit now, and we've been making. I don't know that I've actually seen or used any of that money, but it says we're making money, so that's good. A little bit here and there always helps. So, yay! All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. Thanks everybody for the questions, and it was good to see everybody.
Later, man.
All right. Take it easy.